We'll figure out real quick what's bad, anyways. All right, we're here with Xu-Ifit, Osteoharmonist. Oof. 3 mana 2/3. Return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It's a skeleton, but it has no abilities. But there's no casting cost, so you can just put whatever's in your graveyard into play. So early large threats like Death Shadow, well, actually just simply casting this, I think could just go straight to the graveyard sometimes, and then boom, you tap it. And now you have a 13/13 skeleton. Skeletons don't have trample, they don't have menace. There's an enchantment that gives your skeletons haste. I'm not currently playing it. I'm vastly more concerned about trying to make any kind of skeleton in the first place before I'm worried about giving the skeletons additional text. So the 4 mana slot's interesting. You got like Desecration Demon and all Desecration Demon's cousins of just 4 mana 6/6s and whatnot that have a downside, but when they just inevitably die or whatever, if they don't die, you're just beating up your opponent with them. But if they do die, you just get these rather quickly 6/6s. Now it's not super fast, right? These cost 4. This is Historic Brawl. I actually tried to make this work in Standard, and I looked at my options, and I did not like my options to play a 60 card version of this in Standard. I just felt like I was falling farther behind relative to my opponents, who would then not fall as far behind in power level as this commander does. So I think I'm just gonna do Historic Brawl. We got just vastly more interesting things going on there. The format itself is rather restrictive of what you can just sort of do, right? It's kind of like playing goofy stuff in a legacy league where you're just gonna play against the Merfolk reagents or the reagent Drake and all that stuff, DRCs and Lightning Bolt, Force of Will. Like you're it's kind of pretty cool tools here, but this might deviate a little too far from your expected opponents' matchups. So I don't know. It feels a little out there. It could be difficult, but there's another issue where I didn't feel like I ever had room, or I just don't have room really to do what I want to do on top of Mana Rocks. So the big things could just struggle to get into play outside of being reanimated with this, and that's kind of ugly. But that's just kind of where we are. I don't even really know if some of these are right. I do like this as a sometimes maybe thing I can reanimate, or Creation of Avacyn. That might be interesting. But like Phyrexian Fleshgorger is a 3 mana 3/3, and then when it dies, it is now a 7/5 with no text with our commander, and that seems kind of alright. I'm not really. I don't know how often that this is going to be super scary, but if you do cast it, I'm sure just like most commanders, your opponent's just super interested in killing it, and if that's a lightning rod, I could actually change how the deck plays some of the contents in here and play something closer to what maybe Davriel would do or something like that. Because it's definitely not anything like Sephiroth. I don't even have Sephiroth in here. The 1/2/3 drop creature beatdown with Gix package, which takes up like 80 cards in your black strategies, mono black strategies. It's just not in here. You can target yourself with this and discard things. I do have like Vault. I took out the land that just simply discarded a card to look for an artifact for Mori Vault. It just was simply discarding a card for like nothing other than this, just to pitch one of these. And maybe that is just right to do, but I mean currently I just didn't feel like that was good enough. I do have Phyrexian Scrapyard and Gaia Reach Sanitarium at least, so those are interesting. And then the old coin flip till we win a coin flip. But, yep, alright, let's just play the game. I don't know. Oh, look, it's Azusa again. No way. I have nothing going on except Overlord Reanimate. Alright, whatever. Let's see it. It's not like I'm going to win against this in an honest way, so... like ever. There is no conceivable world where I win in an honest matchup. Of course, they have the unkillable ramp spell, too. Another Herb Ward player. I don't know why this is happening. I didn't hit a creature whatsoever, so no reanimate. Next attempt at doing anything remotely relevant, I guess, would be Liliana plussing and my opponent losing something scary out of hand. Do I get rid of the bracelet? I don't know. There's a chance I draw something that would make me not want to do that. Okay, do I just get rid of a land here? Yeah, I think that's fine. Opponent gets rid of a land. Okay. Excellent news. Okay. Alright, they didn't have it. This is the weak side of Azusa, where if it doesn't have what it needs out of hand, it looks pretty bad. Alright, so we can just do that, that, and that. Yeah, all things we just don't want to draw. And put this in play. The minus is actually kind of ugly. I'm just gonna plus. I'm gonna keep plussing. It's an avenue I just should allow myself to have. I wonder if they block. You probably should block, yeah, because this... No guarantee your 0-3 is more value than that. Yeah, block as well. Okay, plus again, there's no reason to kill Azusa. Alright, so we have recurring 13-13 skeletons at this point. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that... I mean, they already had Omniscience, but now they can do other things, I guess. Bunch of lands. Typical outcome from an Azusa player. It's like 55 lands in Azusa, I think, something like that. I mean, yeah, they already had Omniscience, basically. Victimize. Wow. Really good hit there. That was a phenomenal hit, actually. One of the best cards I could have asked for. Okay, I found poop. Let's plus get rid of cut down. Looking kind of not great here. Swing with the old summoned giant spaghetti monster. I can turn the... I think I might just actually victimize the 9/9. I know it has my opponent deep in thought, but you got it. Yeah, this is just stats. Stats, stats, stats. You alright there, Azusa? Opponent's deep in thought about who knows what. Deep in thought about losing, I guess. So they need to top deck something, and they have 2 looks at it? I think? No. Alright. Get wrecked. Oh, we got Collector's Vault. That's pretty cool. I don't think I've played that yet. Should I cast my... Yeah, why not? Opponent did play the thing that gives this haste that I cannot interact with because it's that weird one that's not a real card. I can make a 13/13 next turn, and then we can pretend like it does anything. Golos next. Yeah. Davriel doesn't play against that kind of stuff, so that's just not true. Random 5/6, get in there. I have no instant speed removal. Oh, I can't anyways, because it's got the hexproof on it, yeah. Never mind. Well, they didn't sacrifice it. Creatures you control get haste and trample. Literally doesn't matter. Already has haste. Recast my commander for no real reason. So I guess I'll just recast this for also no real reason. I mean, I could hold back a creature to stop this, but it doesn't stop what it does. It doesn't stop it, really. I guess they just don't have a land? Okay. Interesting. They also didn't... Oh, they can't target... Okay, yeah. So... Same situation? Slightly different this time? Yeah, slightly different this time. I can put into play something that doesn't bode well for the opponent at some point in the future that is not the current future. But what if I did that? Alright, so now I can just not swing. I'll just not swing here. On the off chance that I don't lose to whatever this thing randomly does. Okay, they surveilled the card. That means it's not going to do anything, right? Huge. Get wrecked. I don't feel bad at all about that one. We did it. We've beaten our set. Wait. That's not a... Opponent, what are you doing? I have no reason to cast Death Shadow. So I won't cast it. I don't have a major reason to cast Shieldred's Edict? Yeah, we can do this, I think. I really, really want to play this card first. Should I do that? There is a chance that is the correct thing to do, because my opponent did nothing for 2 turns. So I'm going to go ahead... Okay, wait. No, I still don't have to cast this. Alright, this didn't have to happen. Could have waited. With the Chrome Box. I feel as though the spectacle in play is quite useful. For a multitude of reasons. Reasons that may come to become clear in the immediate future. This is also maybe an awkward turn for my opponent's commander. Which I would argue probably also works out. This is a 5/4? Yeah. Okay, Toxic Deluge. Or my commander again. My commander again. They did kill it instead of doing their commander, where I had displayed absolutely nothing to do with my commander. So that is definitely a good sign. You just didn't have anything to do with it. As far as my opponent is aware, obviously. Alright, so 4. There is no Kaya's ghost forming this, unfortunately. I could have ghost formed my commander, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that's right. Alright, we did all of that just for a 13-13 on turn 5 or something. Okay, I do not have any way to stop that. Okay, my opponent just plays what I do, except it's all built into a single card. So now what? Lose the game? How do I do anything? Wait. Alright, well, I mean, yeah, alright. There's not a lot that could be extremely problematic here, but I know I did all this setup work just to do the same thing Pac does without any setup. I mean, it's not a 13-13, but I mean, it might as well be. Oh boy, they kept a card on top. I can't wait. I can't wait to lose to it. Again, there's no ghost forming Death Shadow. It doesn't do anything. Alright, so now I have to perform the impossible, which is hit my opponent again with this. I mean, the most likely thing they keep on top is just casting a removal spell, right? I think that would be reasonable. I don't know if this is going to matter in the future, so I'll crack it, or fire it off now. Feels like this is just at its best Fatal Push, so... I doubt that's what they kept on top of their deck, though. Do we have a good... Another card? I don't really have a good Lively Dirge, do I? No, not really. Shield Druid's interesting. My opponent has to block, no matter how you slice it, though. A Cursed Marauder? Oh! I don't have the mana. Oh, wait, yes I do. Wait, I have exactly 5. Chrome Box. I knew there was a reason this was in here. Get wrecked. Look at that. Look at that. We beat Mono Green. Look at that. I don't have any of the busted cards. We haven't played Ancient Tomb yet. Sack a non-spirit, return a creature you control, spaghetti, flying monster. Yep, alright. Do I kill my opponent's commander immediately? One would argue that I probably should. Looks like they have Mox. Yeah, I'm gonna make them get rid of this. Oh, it could be Solitude as well. I kinda hope it's Solitude, honestly. So ideally, my commander isn't, like, super important here. As it stands, I have other things I can do, right? Yep. So they have the thing. Because why wouldn't they? Let's play this one. The blood tokens I give my opponent are actually really bad. So... Or, good for my opponent, I mean. Yeah. I need to draw something that matters. And I need to do it, like, immediately. Because I currently don't have anything that matters out of hand. Alright, something that matters? Of course not. Excellent. Anything I can do? Nope. Alright, well, this game is completely over. What does this do? Discard a card? Yeah, just more of that. At this point, it doesn't even matter if I give them tokens. It just doesn't matter in any way. So, should I still play this anyways? No, I'm gonna play this. I have to just beat Ulamog. Maybe they can't swing with it? That's so unrealistic. Okay, they found something that's just better than Ulamog. Yeah, me and my opponent are essentially doing the same thing, except their creatures come back with text and mine don't. Like, just full stop. Oh, they went for the one that I still... Oh, it goes to hand. Right, it goes to hand. I forgot. Yeah, I forgot about it. I thought it just gets random. Or it's actually even better, yeah. My opponent... We were doing the same thing, except my opponent is doing it better. Like, that's it. This is just strictly... We are a strictly worse version of what my opponent was doing. Feels really bad to get rid of black market connections here, but I think I do. I could also get rid of this, actually. Yeah, one of those. Am I on the play? I don't even remember. Find out in a second. Oh, we were. Alright, so Kaio's Ghost Form it is. Be gone. And also, yeah, it's just awkward to play Ghost Form when my hand is all 3 drops next turn. Let's get Emrakul, because it's the same as, not Emrakul. And then we just cast... I can victimize Emrakul. I kind of really don't think that's a good idea. I know that sounds kind of weird, but I think I'll just not do that. I can victimize for 2 things next turn. And if that doesn't work out, I can maybe do something beyond that. Who knows? There's a lot of reasons to not block. I already have a giant threat. I don't know if the second one has any meaning to you. They should block, but they would have to assess specifically something like Victimize instead of Reanimate, which would not matter. The only reason you block is specifically for this. There's also a big chance I just don't have a Reanimate spell because I didn't have one last turn. Wow, they blocked? That's crazy. That's insane. Alright. This works out even better for us. Works out even better. Let me take that. This is only, what is that, 16 damage, so my life total is irrelevant this game. Just gonna do all the spaghetti, swing with all the spaghetti, bin, I could bin Death Shadow now, it doesn't really matter what I do whatsoever. Could just bin, we could just bin this as some kind of additional out to something random my opponent may decide to do. Let's get rid of the only thing they could do that matters, which is Damnation, get wrecked, and play this. Yeah, Schmied it. Actually, what does the animation do? Does it? Yeah, it's sweet. This is not indestructible. Cool. Man, look at that hand. Look at that hand. Wait, what? Oh, I got confused. I don't think I've ever seen someone actually gemstone mine yet. They also got rid of a discard spell. Huh. Why did they do that? Oh, they found another one. Okay, well, fair enough. Alright, looks like we lost the Liliana line. Which, I mean, there's nothing I can do about that. But I still have my commander. Oh, they didn't take Liliana. Must be some other kind of thing here. Facetious is my middle name. This cycle's at 3, right? Yeah. Ancient Tomb does not do anything that makes me want to play it right now. It also doesn't make me play around Spell Pierce, so... I don't think Liliana should be in play, but there must be a removal spell for it, otherwise I just don't understand. So now they can give their Archaeologist Jace's text box, I guess. Does that even matter? Oh wait, it hits my cards, so I can't use my commander's ability anymore, I guess, as well. Well, let's do the old Plusarino. Get rid of a swamp, play Ancient Tomb. And then, yeah, that's what we did, so. They have a Bestow Hasting Collect Evidence 6 card now. Yep. They can persist Jace, which is actually kind of annoying. I should probably get rid of Unearth. Because I can't really do anything with the Cauldron anyways. So. Okay. Let's plus on... let's actually minus here. I'm gonna minus here. And then I'm just gonna kill my opponent's commander. And there's nothing my commander does. It also doesn't block anything the Phoenix can do. So I guess I just swing with it. Fatal Push does stop most persist outcome. Oh, you can't persist Jace, right? Yeah. I did give them a persist target. But I kind of really want my opponent to, like, go to bestow this thing. Ideally. I mean, killing my commander doesn't do anything. Oh, kills Liliana. Of course. The old 2-for-1 there. Why not? Wow. Okay. I mean, again, I don't have a graveyard, so I'm a bit surprised that they're just interested in killing my commander repeatedly. It's not like I have anything I can do about it, but still kind of funny. That was a really, really good draw, maybe. Actually. I guess one deserves another. Let's take the Liliana, right? I do not at all care about the Crocodile, yeah. It's not like I'm gonna cast it, so. Wow, get wrecked. Get Schmieded. I just beat, like, Grixis Control with Gemstone Caverns. Okay. I mean, that took a lot. Alright, I'm done. All this does is lose, and I just don't feel like losing for another however long I would continue. had I been winning every game. This card is just, this commander's terrible. It's truly awful. There are basically no redeeming qualities at all. Everything that this commander does is done somewhere else on another commander, just better, right? There's like the black-white one that makes them a 1-mana spirit, which doesn't matter at all. It also has white in it, so it has better cards it can run. And then you have Rezug. You have to spend mana for the creature, but the creature is harder to interact with, and it's just okay, right? I'm just kind of a fan of Rezug. I don't think Rezug's good or playable, but it's gives you vastly more resilience than this. You don't have the crazy things you do on paper. I was looking at EDH Rec, just the website, just to see, like, oh, what could I play that on this, not on my radar, because this would like to play things that are really unique, you know, just specifically for this card. And a lot of those things, or the really good things, are not on Arena. But yeah, the new set doesn't have a lot of commanders, and I feel like I played all the good ones up front, and I wasn't even really going to play this one, but I might as well, just for the sake of doing it. Say I did at least once. It's just really bad. You don't get much, like, you don't get anywhere with a 13/13 on turn 4. Or is it like Death Straddle on turn 4? You're not getting anywhere in Historic Brawl, right? And I think that's sort of the best this could possibly do, right? In isolation, quote unquote. You just like cast this and then cast that. Now, with Dark Ritual, you can do it turn 2. So, sure, I like a turn 2 Death Shadow way more. But you know what beats a turn 2 Death Shadow? A lot of things. You know, you do not win with a turn 2 Death Shadow at a full 13. You don't win with that. I don't think I ever actually did that specifically on turn 2. I think the fastest was turn 3 with Chrome Mox, but that's not winning the game. So, it's just not great. You don't have red for, like, faithless looting effects. This commander would love those kinds of cards. That's why I had this in here. There's a few more versions of this card. These are really not the same as faithless looting, but they're kind of doing the thing you like. Grief is very good with all the cheat death effects. You'd be pretty good with trample, double strike, and hit. Yeah, Teamer Battle Rage. Then you just one-shot your opponent, right? There is the card that had been brought up 25 times, and after having played as much as I just did, I actually like it less than was it this thing? Yeah. This gives your skeletons haste, and sure, in that ideal world where you have your turn 2 or turn 4, let's say, Death Shadow, this doesn't give haste to the thing. Like, you have to play this card, right? You're not going to have a turn 2 Death Shadow because you had to play this. So, yeah, you can give it haste, but it shows up a turn later. So it didn't actually have haste. You have to slow yourself down a turn to literally cast this card. It's just not good. It is not good in this commander at all. It has no redeeming qualities. Do not play this. Play something that's just worth reanimating, or something that helps you maybe discard, or actually just a removal spell, more tutors. 5-mana reanimate spells might belong in here, or at least the 4-mana one. I think we have Zombify. I'd probably play Zombify. Instead of Skelify, it's Zombify. But that's fine. I ended up taking out the giant things that kind of really only existed because they had text on them, and then turning them into a skeleton. Like, it's great that you have this maybe somewhat early 13/13 Emrakul with no text, but there's already enough fairly sizable things you can do that just put themselves in the graveyard. Like, this cycles away, this cycles away, this cycles away. Like, this is just okay enough, and it's vastly more in on this, without needing to Thoughtseize myself, or just simply mill the cards. I would not recommend, and I'm just not a fan of stuff like Stitcher Supplier. I just don't like that card. I would not play it here. Overlord was actually kind of questionable itself. It did pick up Liliana a few times, which is funny. But yeah, this strategy as a whole is done better in other commanders, and I would just recommend that to do that instead. We also had a major issue where I just was pitted against the strongest things in the format, which I don't know how long we can even consider them quote unquote the strongest, as it's slowly just becoming the average thing you see in Historic Brawl. So there's just a wall of things like, the red white Ajani, I suppose, was a non-green one. If I name any of them and they have green in them, it's basically the same thing, right? Azusa, Omnath, the Jund, the four Jund ones, it doesn't matter. They're green. They're all doing the same thing in the first few turns. The other colors are completely irrelevant. I mean, you would rather have them than not. You have like Dark Ritual and Thoughtseize and stuff you could play instead of Llanowar Elves, but still, it's just like the green thing. If you're not good against the green thing, then you're just not good in general. And I assume this doesn't have a deck weight because it's brand new, so it's going to be pitted against the sweatiest of things, which it was. I saw the sweatiest of things there, so that's just another thing that makes it very difficult, or if not outright impossible, to truly play. It's just hard. Another issue is I didn't feel like, unlike Celeste, which I keep going back to Celeste, I love this commander. Where is it? Where are you? I don't actually know what version I have looming in here, this pile right now. It looks like the Persist combo. Yeah, alright, it's the combo one. But like this can just do what we were trying to do with Resiliency. This one actually does not have Mana Rocks. Yeah, this one didn't. You don't have to play Mana Rocks with this commander. Again, there's over 400 cards you can play with this commander. This commander is excellent. So many cool things you can do with it. This one, you're just not... Yeah, I actually brought that one up to use it as an example of Mana Rocks, but it actually doesn't have Mana Rocks in it. Not that iteration. Mana Rocks get in the way of accomplishing anything that cares about your commander, except, like, the Celestials. Like, you could play this one, because it does the draw discard thing. I probably want this instead of the Collector's Vault. Maybe both were okay. Key to the Archive can also discard something. Random sporadic Mana Rocks I'm not a fan of. I'm usually, you play a certain amount, or you just don't play any, is kind of where I stand with them. I don't like, oh, we have Arcane Signet, and that's it. Yay! Like, it, to me, doesn't really add up. There's an exception to probably Jet Medallion, right? I wasn't running Jet Medallion. You could run Jet Medallion. It does not fundamentally change any of the issues that this deck is presented, but if you have Jet Medallion, I can't say you're too upset with it, right? It doesn't necessarily advance you to anything that this itself cares about. You could still just play it for the sake of it, but still, I don't know. The ramp just gets in the way of accomplishing anything that this wants you to try to do. So, yeah, I don't like the first two Mana Rocks. It's really like all in or not. I'm just not really a fan of the intermediate. I mean, we still had, like, Ancient Tomb and whatchamacallit, the other one. I did finally win a coin flip, so the 3-month hiatus of winning a coin flip, we're finally over it. I got a treasure token off this card. That's pretty cool. Huge fan of the Spectacle still. The card advantage is not necessarily an issue. The jank 4-mana scary damage-dealing flyers, they're not really going to kill anybody in Historic Brawl before your opponent just kills you with anything, really. They don't have to kill you via damage. They could just kill you having a commanding board presence or major card advantage, and then you're like, you swung with, I don't know, let's say this, where is it? This one. I love this one. I love this card. It's not good, but I love it. You hit them twice with this, and then they stopped caring, or like they start sacking things to it, and it doesn't do anything anymore, or you hit them, let's say, 4 times with it, and they're at 1, and then they just kill you with a vomit value that now you're just not accomplishing anything, right? This isn't aggressive enough to warrant your opponent really being concerned with it, in my opinion. So this just doesn't seem like a viable option or avenue for this commander. I would say these were just probably wrong, because, again, they don't upfront pressure enough, and reanimating a 6/6 at some point in the moderate future is also not that scary for opponents. Like, let's say you play your commander, and then you play one of these next turn, and then it swings twice, and then your opponent kills it, and you create a skeleton out of it, and it's just a 6/6 chilling in play. It lost flying, but it lost the other bad part of the text box, and now you're swinging with this 6/6. Your opponent probably doesn't care, right? They just don't care. Maybe like a Grixis control deck would, with just 1-for-1 removal spam and no damnation or anything like that. They could care, but other than that, not really. It is a little odd that this does make skeletons and doesn't do the skeleton thing. It would be really interesting. In fact, I would actually find it playable if it had the... Because skeletons regenerate. And because we've had a wall of like weird non-real cards like Alchemy Jank in this game, I'm surprised that they didn't make this give the text box or replace it with perpetual. Okay, if it had to be a real card, it can't have perpetual. But if it just gave it regenerate pay 2, like reassembling skeleton, or regenerate pay 3 or something, on the skeletons you make, because, you know, it's pulling the flesh off and it's taking the bones. It's kind of weird that you reanimate it and then it stays as a skeleton in play, and it dies and it's not a skeleton anymore. You can actually just reanimate it for real with something like Reanimate or Zombify. It's just kind of weird how that works, but it is what it is. I really think they should have given the skeletons Reanimate. I mean, that's kind of... Or Regenerate, because that's just the thing skeletons do. And I'm kind of disappointed in that. I don't even think that makes this busted. It puts it kind of on par with something like Asceticism in your command zone, sort of. Asceticism is really good, but it's also in green, which is categorically different than mono black. So I don't think it would break this card. I think this needed more time in R&D of it. That's what I think. I really believe it needed something. Maybe they were just scared to put additional stuff on a scary thing, but for this platform, I just don't think you could pull it off. In EDH, it looks like people are trying, and there's ideas that it does that can sort of look scary, but raw stats with no additional things on them is just the most bare bones, no pun intended, thing you can do, and just in general, right? Like, it's just so... It's the bare minimum of anything, just like raw stats with no trample menace, or the cards can't draw you cards, or they're just big stat sticks. That's all it is. It's just really bare minimum, and as I'm sure anybody who plays this format for a little bit knows, that is not going to get you anywhere, unless you're like some kind of hyper aggro deck, which this wasn't. So probably the best idea is to go in the Gix route, where you play a bunch of the 1-2-3 mana creatures, have the Gix style thing going with like Sephiroth and whatnot, and then this is just value beats, where you randomly make skeletons out of things like 3/3s and 2/2s. Feels tremendously ugly, but I suppose the skeleton haste enchantment would be back on the table if you went that route, because this route was just awful. So I can't recommend this at all. And in that shell that I'm describing, you could just simply play Gix or Sephiroth instead, because it's like the same 99, but your commander is just kind of worse for some reason, with the off chance that you reanimate one of your earlier threats that died, and you can maybe swing with it again, and with like Blood Artist effects, if that creature does die again, you know, that actually has solid play to it. So yeah, there's probably something there with the Blood Artist smaller creature package, and just try to swing at your opponent with a bunch of 1 and 2 and 3 drops, and not try whatever this is. But that's all I've got for you. So let me know what you thought about it. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.